That's a tough act to follow, so forgive me. A few weeks ago, my wife asked me if I would not mind for Mother's Day to come up here and say something about mothers and to say something about my mom. And I'm going to start crying already.
Tissue. I have a tissue. Where is it?
So of course I said I would. And originally I was going to stand up here and tell you about how cool my mom is. Growing up, my mom, she was a cool mom. She had this little red convertible that she had to drive us around in. It was tiny. It maybe fit 2 people. And she would try to take all my friends to soccer practice and the swim team and tennis lessons. And when I was thinking about what I was going to say, I thought about that car, and it had to make me laugh. She refused to get the minivan because she had to be cool and she had to drive around in that convertible. Not the most practical thing, but anyway, when I was thinking about it, that's one of the things I thought about. She always made sure that as a child, growing up, I had the cool shoes and I had a new tennis racket when I needed it, or whatever. And looking back, I know I didn't say thank you enough for all that stuff. But I don't want to sit up here and talk about all that stuff. I don't want to tell you about how she made the best spaghetti and how her pancake. Well, it wasn't the pancakes. It was the syrup on the pancakes that made them so good. And I learned later that the reason the spaghetti and the pancakes were so good was the same reason both of them were just loaded with sugar. But like I said, I don't want to sit up here and talk about that. And the reason is, I asked my wife, I said, what do you want me to talk about? What should I say? And she said, it doesn't matter as long as you make everyone cry. And I was like, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Well, I succeeded because I made myself cry. But I don't want to make anyone cry. I don't want to make my mom cry. I don't want to make anyone here cry. So I know that, tennis shoes and pancakes doesn't make anyone cry. So I had to kind of rethink what I was going to say. And my wife and I were in the car, we were listening to KSBJ, and that is where it kind of hit me what I wanted to say. It was between songs, and I forget who it was, but they were talking about mothers, and they said a quick prayer. I want to read the quote that they said on the radio when they talk about mothers and Mother's Day. They said, "You can never do as much for your mom as she has done for you." And I really started to think about that. And I want all of y'all take a second to think about that. No matter what you do, you will never be able to do for her what she has done for you. And that is an amazing thing. I could spend the rest of my life taking care of my mom, and I wouldn't get close to matching what she has done for me. Right? And we saw that in the video, the first video. That's moms. All day, every day. If you are in this room right now, it means you had a wonderful mother. She took care of you. She fed you. She changed you. She sang to you, and all that stuff. And as you get a little bit older, you kind of forget that stuff. And I don't, we're lucky right here. We look around, and in church we can see Nin and Ava, and we can see the love that they have, and how she, Ava is utterly dependent on her, right? And all of us are like that, but we forget that as we get older. We don't remember that, and maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, But we were all just utterly dependent on our mother, right? Um, and so I was thinking some more, because I want to think about, what do I remember? All that stuff as a child, you don't remember it, but without it, you wouldn't be here. And so I started thinking about the stuff that my mom had done for me, the stuff that I remember her doing for me. And, things that stand out. And as I was thinking about it, it kind of changed my mood. Originally, I was excited to stand up here and talk about how great my mom was. But then when I started thinking about all the stuff she had done for me, I kind of got depressed. And it wasn't because of her. It was because I made a list of some of the stuff, and it was, she allowed me to live in her house. She paid some bills that I couldn't afford to pay. 1 or 2 car payments. Bailed me out of jail. More than once, I'm sad to say. She helped me pay for a lawyer so that I could keep my job. And as I was making this list, thinking about the things she'd done for me, I was like, I'm a bad son. I was like, this is supposed to be about how great my mom is, and then it turned around to, I'm terrible. Look at all this stuff I've put my mom through. And thinking about how you can never pay her back. Well, there is no way I can pay her back for this stuff. And it was almost like I didn't want to think about it. I was like, oh my goodness, this and this and this. And then my list just kept going, and I'm totally overwhelmed by this. And now I'm like, this isn't any fun. But I don't want to come up here and tell you what a bad person I am. That's not the point of this. All right. The point is, it's not that I'm a bad son. The point is that my mom is awesome. My mom, every time I messed up, which is a long list, every time, she forgave me. Her love is completely unconditional. Like I said, more than once, she had to bail me out of jail. And I totally remember this. The first thing she did was give me a hug and took me to get a hamburger. She didn't yell at me. No, she's like, you must be hungry. Let's go get a hamburger. We'll talk about that other stuff later. And so that's the point I want to make today, is that mother's love is unconditional. It's the greatest thing ever. Like I said, it will never be able to repay that love. And I'm just going to ask today that we try. There's an old movie, and this is actually before my time. But the tagline was, love means never having to say that you're sorry. I don't believe that. You're going to mess up. Kids, you're going to mess up. But make sure you ask for forgiveness. Mothers will forgive you. I am a testimony to that. So right now, I want to take this opportunity to tell my mom, I'm sorry for all the stuff. I want to tell you that I love you. And I want to tell you that I'll do everything I can to make it up. And so I want to ask all the kids right now to find your moms and tell them they're sorry for anything they might do. If you haven't done anything wrong, you will. So find your mom, tell her you're sorry, tell her you love her, and tell her you will do everything that you can to make it up to her. Do it right now. Do it right now. Find your mom. Tell her you love her. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Tell your mom sorry for the things you've done and for the future things that you're still gonna do.
All right, so I want to end by kind of going back to the beginning and tell you about how great my mom is. As you get older, I hate to tell you this, kids, you're going to realize that you are more and more like your parents. And I am so grateful that I'm becoming more like my mom, because she is the most caring, patient person I've ever met. And recently, I think everybody in this room probably knows, my mom is a cancer survivor. And until recently, I didn't know how strong my mom was. She was the strongest person I've ever been around. And so that's all I want to say, is that she is the most patient, compassionate, and the strongest person that I can imagine. And so, happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you.